Hello, I'm Chris with Tandem Off-Road. Today we're going to install the second generation Toyota Sequoia and Tundra skid plates on this Sequoia here. Second generation is 2007 to 2022. We've got engine, transmission, gas tank, and differential skid plate. Differentials obviously just for the Sequoia, and cat guards. Okay, we're going to start off with our engine skid plate. Comes with hardware all right here. You'll need a 13mm wrench socket, and then the oil fuel cap is 5mm if you need it. Okay, first thing you want to do is pull off your old skid plates. I've already done this on this previously prepared Sequoia. Your mounting locations are going to be on this front radiator crossmember, this crossmember here for your suspension, and this suspension crossmember here. We're installing this with a aftermarket bumper, actually our Tandem Sierra Tango front bumper for the Sequoia and Tundra, available at tandemoffroad.com. Shameless plug. But if you're installing this with your stock bumper, you'll have 3 tabs off the back of the fascia here. Those will bolt into these carriage bolts, which install into the 3 square plugs in the front of the skid plate, and then you just keep those in place with this little keeper ring. You'll just jam that on there. You can jam that on there with a socket and a hammer, or spin it on with some pliers. That keeper will keep that in place while you're installing everything else, and then those tabs will just bolt over this. So now we will run this guy up, and we're going to align this front lip of the skid plate. We're going to hook it over that front radiator core support, and then we'll just line up these 2 slotted holes with the 2 threaded holes that are in that cross member. And you'll just kind of go on up with it and get it close. Oop. Get it close. It's close. You'll run the hardware in hand tight, or not even hand tight. You'll leave it pretty dang loose, so that we have movement with the skid plate to get the rest of our holes started. All right, after you get the front 2 loosely installed, you'll move your way back, and there's 3 big clearance holes to some threaded holes in this second cross member. And you'll do the same thing. You'll just run those in by hand, get them started loosely. If you're doing this on the ground, obviously you could use a jack or something and some wood to get this guy up in place and just shimmy this guy around. Now that we got those started, we're going to go ahead and run those in a little further. We'll still leave them loose, but we just want to close this gap up in the back. As we suck those in, this will pull up a little bit closer to the frame, which will make the next step just a little bit easier. So I'm just watching this gap in the back and running it in until it's close. Okay, last step with the engine skid is to run these long bolts in. They're going to pass through this cross member with this big washer and nut on top, and they're just passing through some clearance lightning holes in this cross member, just like so. There you go. And if you're installing the transmission skid plate, you can go ahead and leave those loose because the trans will slide in between the engine skid here and this cross member. If you're just installing engine skid plate, you can tighten this up. There's that. Okay, now that everything's in but the skid plate's still loose, we'll just grab the skid plate and rack it back so that this lip is pushed up against that cross member and tighten everything up. we got our engine skid plate installed on this second gen Sequoia. It's super stout, 3/16 of an inch steel everywhere. Big oil filter access hatch here. We got big cutout in the back for your oil drain pan. Lots of clearance here for sway bar in case you're running a sway bar drop. Super stout. You can park this thing right on a rock and take the thing on any trail. You're good to go.